Hello everyone, MeanSpeed here with another Renegade Line video. First off, I want to say that I'm recording with a new headset right now, which is a new version of my old one, pretty much. So you might notice an increase in the audio quality. So yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. So it's been about 3 weeks since I covered Renegade Line in any way at all, really. So I've got a fair amount of things to talk about and address in this video, but as you know, or may not know, I prefer to do a longer video, sort of rounding up all of the news instead of small segments on each small bit of news we get. So today I'm going to be covering the newest video we got from Raw Vengeance, showcasing an ability for the first time as well as rocket jumping, the character customization image with different facial hair options and such, the new resident character design, the Devil's Tail sniper concept for the Wickeds, and also the grenade crosshairs, which marked the end of the crosshair contest. So before I talk about the ability and the rocket jumping, I'm first going to mention a few sort of miscellaneous and extra things I noticed in the video, because I do sort of tend to do that whenever they make a new video. Obviously I pay attention to the main focus of it, but I do like to look for, things I can spot in there, just to get some more discussion out of it. So yeah. So we can see the character moving very fast, and if this is indeed the tank class being used based on the fact that it's holding heavy weapons and an RPG, then that movement speed seems maybe a bit too much for a tank, especially as a base movement speed with no sort of added bonuses like teammates or abilities, for example. The movement speed we see here is also faster than in any other video we've seen up to now, so I don't know, maybe it could have been only just recently modified, maybe just for this video, just to make the rocket jumping look faster and more intense to get people more excited for it, but I'm not too sure. We can see a new house which isn't wooden and has some bits of brickwork showing, and we can also see a new chimney by the wooden house itself. We can see that face cam, or the front camera as they call it, was showcased, which I think looks good. And you get quite a generous view behind you, so you can look out for incoming vehicles and more, such as players, maybe the agent class, and just anyone trying to be stealthy on you, I guess. And it's zoomed out significantly more than the face cam in BFH was. Right now, I don't know if the game supports movement while in face cam at the moment, since the only instances where we saw face cam were with the character just sort of standing still. But yeah. Now, this one isn't new to this video, but I don't think anyone else noticed it, which is that the character has a new clothing item, which is a pipe in his mouth. But this was just about visible in the video before this as well, which was the settings showcase video. We can see a few small tweaks to the ammo of the RPG, so that's obviously still being tweaked with, so Raw Vengeance can get a balanced number of shots that you have in one life on your RPG. We can see some grey areas on this other test map, which is maybe hinting at more walls, a few towers and a thinner bridge to be added to the game's main map, but they could of course just be there to make it look a bit less barren. I'm not really too sure how test maps work and everything. They might have just been put there for any reason, really. And finally, I know this is just another test map, but the fact that what I assume to be ammo boxes are only placed next to flag points here makes me think that maybe they could have some significance with the flag. So maybe they are indeed ammo boxes, but maybe they're inactive until one side captures a flag, and then the ammo box possibly turns to the color of the flag color, and the faction who captured the flag can maybe use the box and pick it up as such. But yeah, this was just a pretty random idea I had based on the placement on this video, and since it's a test map, I don't expect many people to take much from this idea, since loads of random objects could be placed on the test map for no reason at all, really. So yeah, just a random idea. So onto the ability, which is called Meltdown, which basically allows you to absorb explosive damage and get ammo back for it. Basically, think of it like BFH's IEG, but with no healing and an emphasis on the limited ammo feature of the game. I think the ability looks pretty nice and has a good effect to it, especially for pre-early alpha, and I do like the orange particles. I do think the sound can be improved to give the ability more life to it, since I think it sounds a bit plain and static at the moment, but maybe that was what they were going for anyway with it. Yeah. The ability looks to last quite long, though I think it's just because free cam was used during the use of it, so that perhaps froze the cooldown so it lasted for longer, but I'm not too sure. I noticed that the cooldown time for the ability is about 20 seconds as well, so that could be good or bad depending on how effective it is when in use. I think Meltdown might be overpowered in that a single small grenade could give you maybe a lot of ammo for a really powerful weapon like your RPG, for example, but maybe you could only get ammo back based on, well, ammo back on bigger guns based on the amount of explosives you absorbed, so you'd maybe have to absorb a lot of explosives and not just a small number. Obviously I'm speculating a lot here since we don't know the proper stats and detailed mechanics of the ability just yet. I guess we can assume that this ability is for the tank class, since it's being used on what looks to be the tank, but you know, once again, that's not much to go on, to be honest. And to finish on this segment on Meltdown, I'm sure, well actually I'm unsure, if it will lock onto and instantly catch explosives, or if it will only absorb those explosives that are heading directly for the sort of yellow barriers. So maybe splash damage from an explosive from above or something fired above the barriers might damage you, but I'm not sure. Now onto something the community was no doubt looking forward to seeing, including myself, rocket jumping. So we can see that rocket jumping uses up your ammo on your RPG, so you might want to pick certain times and moments to do it and not spam it based on that. It can send you pretty high up in the air and far, and you can stay in the air for a long time, you know, almost as if you're playing on the moon or something, but this is actually not meant to be the falling speed and how it works. Currently what we can see is apparently the parachute speed, so it's the parachute mechanics without the parachute animation and texture itself, and the normal falling won't be as slow, which is reassuring because in this video it looks like you're a really easy target if you take that long, you know, to reach the ground again. We can see that rocket jumping doesn't damage you, but I think if that was going to be a mechanic anyway, then it could maybe not use up ammo to compensate, and vice versa. So if Raw Vengeance stick with using up RPG ammo for rocket jumping, then not taking damage is fine with me, since you're using up much needed ammo for what is no doubt going to be a strong weapon. But if you can spam it to do it anytime you want, unless of course you run out of ammo from using it normally on enemies as a weapon, then it makes sense to let you take damage for trying it often and getting many chances to do it. But yeah, these are just my thoughts from looking at the video, and this is quite a hot topic on the forums, so I'd be interested in anyone's thoughts on it. Overall though, to me, I think it's not bad rocket jumping for pre-early alpha, and I'm glad we're getting it as a mechanic, since I really enjoyed doing it in BFH, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people did as well. Onto the customization now, and we can see that upon creating a character we can change the hair, moustache and beard to different styles and colours, which to be honest is good enough for me, since I'm not normally over the top crazy with customization on the face itself in games, like changing your eye colour, nose size and all that stuff. It's not really something that I care that much about, but I know there will be some people in the community who are more into that, obviously. Right now there's no mention if we can actually come back to our character and sort of change things later on, since this is done when you first create a character obviously, but it would be nice to come back and redo things, you know, in case you misclicked or just submitted a hairstyle you didn't like, for example. Excuse me. So yeah, we can also see freckles on one of the designs, so maybe the customization will be even more detailed in the future if those are an option as well. So the new resident design was actually originally an April Fool's joke that was posted, showing a very messed up and poorly done version of this, which looks to have a lot more character and charm to it than the other designs we've seen, at least in my opinion. But I do think the build of the character looks more suited to the tank class than any other, and it might seem out of place or just unfitting on anything other than a tank. So yeah. Moving on to the sniper concept, and as I said before, this is called the Devil's Tail, which is the wicked counterpart to the Resident as I described it, broom-like sniper known as the One-Winged Angel, which we've already seen. So yeah, I think this looks a bit similar to the One-Winged Angel, though the two are definitely different with their colours and defining points. This one having a sort of spear look to it. But yeah, I'm not sure. You know, I think this is probably just going to be a concept or an idea at the moment. I don't have much information on it, but it was mentioned in an interview with RV Omnipresence, and I don't remember seeing much about it, though I have to admit I didn't really read the entire interview. Finally, I'll quickly touch on the grenade crosshairs. As I said, this marked the end of the crosshair contest, so I don't know if the first place winners have been given their prizes yet. Though it wouldn't make sense to give them out just yet if you can't use them, at least to me. And I haven't seen anyone on the forums saying they've got one, so yeah. I think the crosshairs all look quite unique, and they aren't, you know, they aren't really similar to each other like some of the other entries have been, to be honest. And I personally thought 4 could have been the primary winner if a mechanic that was mentioned in the thread by Ray LeBoucanier was implemented, which is to allow you to charge up your throw intensity and strength of the grenade by, I assume, holding down the trigger button, which I think is pretty interesting. And the idea was to have the crosshair change color depending on the charge level. And I think 4 suits that mechanic the best. So yeah, guys, that was it for all the recent Renegade Line news from pretty much early April to now. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.